Thanks, y'all. I'll try so everyone can hear me in the background. My name is Christina Woerner McInnis, and you're right. My team books my calendar. They have this competition of how many activities I can do in the last 96 days. And just so you know, I got a little nervous because I was at the Azalea City Republican Women, and they were shutting roads down. And I didn't even take into account they're about to throw it out for Mardi Gras. So I'm glad to be here. It's great to be here. This is my home county. It feels good to be where I started. And there's a lot that I don't have to explain because of where I've come from, but we'll talk a little bit. I'm a fifth-generation farmer. I'm with the Woerner family. I'm married into the McInnis family. My husband is the bridge builder. So if you're out there on 65, 85 or rural roads, my husband is out there building those bridges. We both have a set of boots on. His are steel-toed and mine are cowgirl. And we have 4 children, and 2 go to Auburn and 2 go to Orange Beach. We kicked off this year with 120 years of farming in Alabama. And so I will tell you this honestly.
I'm good.
I will tell you this honestly. I am built off of the backs of farmers who have come before me with blood, sweat, and tears. And I am forever grateful for what they have built and instilled in me. Now today, we have the Woerner family companies. We have farms in Florida, Alabama, and we also have operations in Mississippi and then a farm in Colorado. Now, between all of that, that's kind of giving you a little bit of my history. And also today, I work with Lowe's and SiteOne nationally behind their brands with ag technology software. So I get to work with big box and family members, but I get to do agriculture. Now, before I tell you why I'm running, it's a 5-point plan, okay? I want to give you a brief update of what's coming at us from the federal level right now. So right now, let me give you a federal update. You have Secretary Brooke Rollins, who just went down to Texas to open up the first sterile fly plant, okay? Why is that important? Because the screwworm is this close to coming into the United States. It is a biosecurity issue. And do not think it's only going to affect your cattle. It will affect your dogs, your cats, your horses, and your cattle. We have defeated it once. We're going to defeat it again. They just issued a $100 million grand challenge for this. This should be taken seriously. When the temperature rises, the screwworm is coming. Number 2, she issued a $700 million regenerative ag. Now, when I started talking about regenerative ag with my family years ago, they all kind of rolled their eyes. Oh, Christina, you always have to have fancy words for things. But the reality is what Momentum is building there, it's healing the soil, which is the project I work on. The more we heal the soil and regenerate the soil, the healthier our cultivation process will be. Dad just claims we just have a fancy word for it now. So that's an important grant that's coming down. There's also some great grants that Brooke has done to help the farm connect to the school. I don't know if you guys know this before I touch on it, but when I went to school, I'm not sure how much Alabama produce, I'm really not sure, but there was a period of time where not much farming food ended up on the plates of our schools and our children. Last year, there was 3 million servings of Alabama produce and food on our school plates. We're making great strides. Let's continue to use those resources. Now, those are some federal issues. Y'all aren't here to hear about that kind of stuff. You're here to hear about the 5-point plan. First, let's talk about the Farm Bill. There is barely any farm left in the Farm Bill. When the Farm Bill was created, it was there for the farmers, and it's also there to supply SNAP, supplemental, catch the word, nutritious food. Let me tell you what the #1 commodity is. Energy drinks and SNAP. $15 billion of your tax dollars spent a year on energy drinks and SNAP. 75% of the children are clinically obese. They went through the pediatric diabetes and all the other things of what's happening in children. I have pediatricians come to me with tears in their eyes and saying, on top of the health crisis, going back to the mental health crisis that's occurring from that, is staggering in our children. So when we're standing behind a mom or a person buying margarita mix, all different items that should be on it, we're not doing a fair justice to our children. And as I'm visiting the poultry farmers, literally crying that they're shutting down their poultry because they can't afford the upgrades to raise chickens anymore in the state of Alabama. You cannot buy an Alabama rotisserie chicken on SNAP. Now give me a good reason why lean protein, healthy protein, that feeds a family of 4, 2 meals, and that money is going to our Alabama poultry farmers. Tell me why that's not available. So when I met with Secretary Rollins, she's our USDA secretary, she said, I asked myself 2 questions. Is this good for the U.S. farmer, and is this good for our children? The reason is 80% of her budget is SNAP. In Alabama, we should be having it in a way that our children are eating nutritious food and the money is going into the pockets of farmers. Just like Brooke said, that's good for our kids, that's good for our farmers. So we're going to work on the farm bill. Number 2, China. China is here, China is here, China is here. And China's even printing publications, 5, 30-year, 100-year plans, all to do what? Take over the United States of America. It's a well-thought-out, publicized. This is not hidden under the covers, confidential in China. It is published. China has purchased 400,000 acres of U.S. farmland. 1 out of 4 hogs here in the United States is owned by China. Picture that. You have 80% of our meat processed by 4 companies. 2 are foreign. 1 Chinese. So I will tell you this. How do you own a country? Buy the land, own the companies, control the food. You, whoever the hand feeds you, will control you. And slowly and methodically, China is doing that to us. We have to continue to push back. Sarah Huckabee Sanders over in Arkansas stood up at a press conference 2 weeks ago and said, I'm done. China, I want my land back. And I'm done. She's clawing back. She's demanding they return the land. We have to protect U.S. farmers. We have to protect our food supply. This is a national security issue. We have a $50 billion deficit in agriculture. That's how much more we're importing than exporting. $50 billion. Point 3, young farmers. Going back to how do you control a country? The young farmer, this next generation, we're not putting them in the fields. We're not breeding the next generation of farmers to be profitable and successful. Have you guys looked at the land prices? You tried to buy a tractor? Have you added up that fertilizer bill? Huge inflation on that. And to get a young farmer out in the field working in the 100-degree weather, breaking their back. I mean, my grandfather, when he passed away, he had no fingertips.
So does Dad.
This is hard work, and we're not putting resources behind them. I took my dad on the campaign trail on Friday. We had to go meet with bankers. Yeah, basic banking. It always makes me nervous to meet lawyers and bankers. So I took Dad with me. And the bankers talked about how nervous they were with their farming clients. The debt that's there on the farms. And you could just feel notes are this close to getting pulled. And you know what will happen when that happens. Okay? And Dad said, we just don't have enough mentorship and support behind farmers. And I'll talk about that point 5. Now, point 4. Let me go back to young farmers. I have 4 kids. And I lived in a generation where my mom told me to go pick supper out of the field before I had it for supper that night. The corn, the beets, radishes on the salad. And then, by the way, Oreo is sitting in a white wax paper in our deep freeze for the ground shut, okay? And we always had to kill 2 deer a year because we had to put meat. We grew up on real food. But since that time, we've got so far with the train on the tracks, okay, that our children are now eating 75% ultra-processed foods. 75%. We're the most developed nation in the world, and we are the sickest. And yet, you look at RFK, and he's talking about Maha and all this stuff. And it's real simple. Eat real food. I mean, have y'all seen Mike Tyson's new promotions on Maha? Is that not the greatest thing ever? Mike Tyson's weighing in on let's just eat real food. And who does real food? Farmers. But if we're selling the farmland to China, we're selling the processing companies to foreign companies in China, we're not putting our next generation into the fields. How do we eat real food? We eat it from another country owns us. Sweetgrain, Alabama, point 4. Sweetgrain, Alabama is a brand certification for the Alabama, well, Rick did it, but it's on its separate entity. But it was created by the Alabama Department of Ag and Industries. And if you grow a strawberry, you can brand it. You grow turf grass, you can brand it Sweetgrain, Alabama. When you're working nationally or selling something, it's always great to have a marketing brand. And Sweetgrain, Alabama does an amazing brand for Alabama. It's beautiful. So here you got the #1 industry here in Alabama is agriculture. $77.3 billion impact. You have 1 out of 10 jobs revolving around agriculture. And we have a brand certification that's beautiful. Well, then you know what we need to do? Let's put ingenuity behind it and innovation. Let's put some fire with it. If you do something good, you need to make it better. Okay? So let's do what I do for Lowe's Inside One. Let's put a little digital touch to it and make it an agritourism experience. Why is that important? Before I talk about the residents of the state, we have 29.5 million visitors that hit these interstates and roads, and what are they doing? Going to the beach. Funny enough, when I meet Tuscaloosa, they all say they're coming to a football game. So I do get some variations. They're hitting that interstate, they're going 100 miles an hour to the beach. But do you know how many sticky? Make a tourism experience. Those kids are screaming in the back. Take them to the Coleman Strawberry Festival. Take them to Tate Farms Huntsville Pumpkin Patch. Give them a reason to go pick your blueberries and brew them. I mean, look at all of what we have here, the experience. I mean, yes, they're coming to our beaches, but they're missing out on our #1 thing that we do well. So let's put those 2 things together. I can tell you, this area understands tourism revenue. So let's make Sweetgrain, Alabama an agritourism experience. And it gives, I can't tell you how many people that I live around here. We live next to #2 in the nation farmers market. #2 in the nation. And I can't tell you how many times I run into people I've never been. What days is it open? And I go to Huntsville, they got 5 of them. And it is all chaotic and fragmented. But if we provide a way that people can easily visit these farmers markets, what is happening? You're putting dollars into the pockets of our farmers. That's what you're doing. And for every dollar you spend, 60 cents is going to stay in that community. Because you're going to go ask that farmer to sponsor a baseball team, or they're going to spend the money. It stays there. That's power. 5, I want to do a voluntary grant portal. Why is that important? It's actually one of the most boring points to you guys in this audience. But when I talk to people who understand this as a business perspective, they'll come up to me and say, if I only had that, my dad might not would have shut his farm down. Let me tell you what happened. Alan and I are kind of local, so don't tell him I talk about it. Oh crap, we're on camera too. Okay, all right. There was someone in my family. We both got the same email. Specialty Crop Marketing Assistant Program. Okay? It was during the Biden administration, but they were both running for president. And I opened it up, meaning both Trump and Biden. And I opened it up, and I said, our team needs to look at this. And Donna took it over, and we applied for it. Alan opened it up. It was a foreign language to him. It looks, you've been on a tractor all day, and it's elite. The programs are out there. You have to have people go discern them and fight for them for us. When you're looking at federal, state, local, and private grants, I actually sat with a gas station owner in rural Alabama, and he applied for an EV charger on a federal grant, and he got it. And I'm sitting there, you tell the puzzled look went over my face. Why? Don't you want to sell gas? Because he was in the gas business? Oh, no. Those electric cars, I need them to come to my store because it takes 20 minutes to charge that car, and you would be amazed at the ticket they leave with after shopping in the gas station. That grant provided him an additional revenue opportunity. We have to get creative. Things are hard out there. Bankers are scared. Farms are shutting down. We have to do more. We have to keep the dollars here. Now, lastly, it's great to be here in my home county town. I ask for your vote May 19th. Now, I want to tell you this. You would be amazed at what I hear on this campaign trail and see and experience. But I am a farmer. I know there's a lot of people in other parts of the state that can't believe a girl can be a farmer. But Alabama has never got behind a female ag commissioner ever in history. And I'm going to tell you, it's not going to be because I'm a girl at the end of the day. It's going to be because I'm the most qualified candidate, and I'm going to work hard for you. So I need your vote May 19th. I need you to like the Facebook page and follow along. I'm visiting all over businesses, families, high school students, and it's a fun journey along the way. But now I want to make sure I leave some time for questions because I heard you ask, I'm fully loaded with questions. Yes, ma'am.
First of all, I want to say it's so nice to have someone know what we're talking about. So oftentimes we have candidates get up here and it's clear that they have no idea what they're talking about. So thank you. The second thing is China. I feel like our legislative branches let us down. They passed a bill that was toothless. It's not doing anything to stop with the growth of China buying our farmland. They fall back on the privacy issue with selling private land and stuff.
Property rights.
Right. That is an issue. But for the most part, if we don't have land to feed our families, that's not going to make any difference. So what Huckabee's doing is what we need to be doing. So since you're not running for a legislative branch, what can you do to stop the land grab?
So interesting enough, so even though I might not have the power in this office, I had somebody tell me the legislature the other day, because I was explaining before things kind of happened with the waiver to drop rotisserie to the Senate bill, okay? He said, we've been waiting on someone, although it's not in your power, to come advocate for it. That it's the best thing in our arm of the branch to take care of for you. So I will have to advocate to the governor and say, this is what we need to do. And I'll be that voice in the air. And I'll be honest with you, just so you know, this is not something I came up with. The FBI approached me years ago about this. Why? Your land grant universities, all the research and development. My dad has a biosecurity project nobody knows about, but it's highly valuable to China. And if they find out the tail end, so if we've gone, let's say we go through 8 years and $200,000, and the academia comes to check on how things are going on the project, because it's paired with an academic university, they can literally pick, which they have, they can pick the seeds out of the fields, hold them, and walk out flying to China. So there's so much, and so I kept telling my husband, he works for Outlaw, he builds bridges, and I said, the FBI grounded those drones like a year ago. I said, all that you're filming and doing is all gets sent to China before it even gets sent to you. And sure enough, 2 weeks ago, Outlaw sent a big announcement that said, no drones on state projects anymore because of China. The Ring doorbell, I literally sat there the other day, someone goes, and it's your Ring doorbell too. And I was like, man, it happens that fast right underneath it, and you don't even realize how much you're feeding them.
How concerned are you about them bringing in, like, the fungus?
Seeds.
And, yeah.
100% it's a biosecurity issue.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're looking at, like right now, there's one in Hawaii on palm trees. Okay, you look at granny on citrus. When you bring contaminants in this country, you take down food sources. You take things down.
Doing that?
Yes. By the way, if you do receive seed packets, which is a real thing, I know it's not because it's a real thing, you are to report it to Alabama Department of Ag.
Right, what'd you say, CPAC? What?
Seed packets, they come from China.
Seeds.
So seed pack.
Seed, S-E-E-D.
What is that?
I don't want to know, but they're trying to release a biosecurity contaminant. Much like when the screwworm hits here, it's going to attack. But this is a premeditated attack.
Okay.
It's not wildfires.
That we love God. Please don't see. So that you got a question?
Sure.
It is.
I'm not as I'm both kind worker as and buying fertilizer. There is no way you can justify it. So
Farming?
trying to grow pecans versus the cost of fertilizer. Do you have any control over that?
So you let me read you a couple things about that. So when Russia went to war with Ukraine, it drove up fertilizer prices. So what happens globally will affect you here in Baldwin County. Trump is doing all he can amidst all of the other fires. He is demanding why these inputs are not coming down. Do I have an answer for that? No, it's really going to have to come from the federal government. He's going to have to put pressure on these big companies to get input prices down.
People here complain about the increase in the population.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if the farmers had their kids to stay into farming and get make a living, then that development land that's being sold to D.R. Horton today could be used for farming as it's been for years.
Right.
Now, how do we get there though? How do we eliminate the processed foods? How do we get that farmer productive again?
We're going to have to go with this Maha movement to eat real food. And we're going to have to start prioritizing. When it comes time for you to get your groceries, prioritize the time to go to the coastal fisherman and farmer's market and Foley. Because if we prioritize it and make it a big deal, the demand causes that. Now, as for keeping it on family land, that's an easier discussion. It's a difficult discussion to talk to do in a first gen or a new farmer that's got to go out and buy the land. Because I can tell you this, sitting where I am today, we've been trying to get the Madison County to farm for probably 4 years. We can't afford to farm on developer prices. And we're facing developer prices here. That's just the reality. So it's a lot easier for me to have a pathway to success. You can tell I'm going through 6 years of speech therapy at Alberta Elementary School. And I ran into Pam Taylor, for the record, just off the record. I did so much speech therapy. I was like the favorite student. I was at the word every year. And I ran into her the other day. She's working on the Miracle Park in Somerdale. And she goes, I never thought you'd end up being a public speaker. I was like, you did a good job. But every once in a while, I'm raining right. So to make a new farmer or a first gen, the success rate of that is so difficult. So difficult. But the path to success for this next generation, you have family land.
The problem is the product price is the same as it was back in the 90s. Mm-hmm. The tractor cost, diesel cost, fertilizer cost, and then God's elements.
Right.
I mean, a farmer's got a hard road to hoe.
And now you see why the bankers are scared.
Hey, I know, I've been there.
Mm-hmm. And so when you're looking at this next generation, they look at you and say, I'm just going to go be a nurse or a lawyer. The money, the work, they don't choose that path, and suddenly they turn around and there's not that next generation there. We have to make farming, I don't, Mike Tyson pulling it. We've got to do something differently so people want it and feel they can see a path to profitability.
The farmers market out here, on a good Saturday in March, you're going to have 1,800 people go through there.
It is.
And I support the beef farmer out there.
Lillian cattle?
Yes. I talked to Jim Krause. Somebody was talking to Jim Krause last week. He's got 4 kids. 2 of his kids are engineers. I think he said 4. One's on the farm with him. The other 2 or 3 are gone. So we got to get it to where these farmers will stay at home and be productive and make some money, make a living, farm.
Right.
Now, how do we do that?
It's the one occupation where they say that you buy at retail and sell at wholesale.
Right. Exactly right.
Yeah. We're going to have to work with the voluntary grant portal and mentorship program. There are monies out there. I can't tell you how many times I went around the state and I asked, did you apply for the specialty crop? Did you apply for the specialty crop? I didn't know about it. I didn't have time. What are you talking about? So, twofold. As a commissioner, I'm going to do better. I'm going to work because you're going to see me at the end of the year and I'll say, just look what we kept in Alabama. Look what we did for Alabama. I watched a chicken farmer over in Hill County. Anyway, he could not afford to upgrade his poultry houses. So the integrators will demand to start upgrades, $1 million, okay? And when you look at how much they make, he couldn't make it anymore. And so he retrofitted it to a greenhouse to grow hydroponic lettuce. He then applied for a grant to get a vehicle to transport it to the schools. And now he's in the business of producing hydroponic lettuce that is ending up on the schools. Now, when you look at grants and some other things, be very careful. My dad always says farmers don't like to make it sound like our hand is out, we always get money. It's that shows you what Mr. Ferguson did was a start to grow and fly on its own. We need more success stories like Farmer Ferguson.
Hey, Whitney's waiting.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, you finished your answer. We started a podcast recently, and we have not released the episode yet, but just this week we were out speaking to a first-generation farming young family, my Neely's age, and they talked about this would be very sad about the grant process. But could you make the commitment to what they're doing is they've created like their own mentorship network here located in Granby, Alabama. Their program is called Vets to Cattle.
Oh, wait, is this C4 cattle?
Yes.
Jerry Carter? Oh, he's my friend.
Yes. So, I think that, they got me thinking about the Andrew farm, as the first generation farmer, but I think that programs like that are so important, and I love that they reach out to first gen farmers as well as veterans. What sort of commitment as commissioner could you make to supporting organizations like that for first gen?
Sure. So let's talk about him a little bit. He's a specialty one. He has veteran and he's a first gen. And I want to tell you something. Those are the 2 highest suicide rates. Okay? So when I talked to him and he was going through it, I've already sent him 2 opportunities. My promise is going to be, I want to keep money here. I'm committing that to you. Now, I'm actually going to tour over in his farms, and I'm going to do a whole story on
That's
him.
great. Anybody should go out there. They have opened up the farm. You can go out there and tour it, and it is the coolest experience.
And we have, another warrior project up here, off of Expressway North, Loxley, and is it Silverville? Okay. And I went out to tour, and there's so much after you've been in war to farm. If you go think about when people were COVID and everything, we all went outside to the victory garden. It's a very healing process to go through. So the money, I'm not saying it's there, but there is money there. We have to go fight for it and bring it here.
And through that grant process, I think that was a struggle, especially people that are just starting out who just don't even know how to navigate that. I think that simplifying that grant application process is huge.
So in the grant portal, we will have a headhunter who does the grant for them and closes it out. So that's the whole part of it that, I could say firsthand, a lot of the time, closing out the grant's the hardest part.
Meaning,
Yes, ma'am.
and I have a question for you. Did I hear you say that one of your children is that over?
2 of them.
Okay. My daughter just graduated from Baldwin in December, and she was telling us, and throughout the course of the 4 years there, the big push in Auburn with the farmers market, and they opened up a new, like the restaurant type food place that's geared towards all of that. Are you working with them as far as to get that word out and spread it outside of the Auburn area? You seem Auburn all over the place with farms, sprays, dry farms. Are you working with them at all? So I know it's a big push right now.
So right now, I'm not currently sitting in the working seat, but the plans that I have for Sweetgreen, Alabama, that operation would fit right in there. Because if you're a student, if you wanted to know where, how to connect, and so forth, you'd be able to get your phone. We all know they're on their phones and know exactly when and where. And for the people that are coming in for the Auburn football game, they would also be aware. We have to think about the tourists and so forth. So that program you're speaking of would fall into the agritourism experience at Sweetgreen.
Are your kids part of that program up there?
My daughter is in ag econ. That's for minor. I'll be honest with you, I'll have to ask her. I don't know. Yeah, they go to all these things and brief me about 20 seconds a night. That's really.
But yeah, my daughter would send me pictures every time she goes to the farm there. That was a faucet gift from the agricultural department at Auburn. And it was a big push to get it outside of Auburn. I just didn't know it's also now.
I will be though. Let me sit in that seat. I will be. Because at College of Ag and the department, right now, the dean of the College of Ag sits on the board at ADAI. So that will be good. Yes, sir.
So, as far as Sweetgreen, Alabama, if you took the tax dollars and went to the government, then all the Alabama money products, just Alabama would be spent. You say that back to the farmers, held up.
I mean, of course that would be huge, you know. Even more so, though, what I'm looking at selfishly with that, I'm looking at the customer insight data value behind the scenes of what you can do when someone, let's say this is an app. You will know where they're coming from, what mobile device they're on, how long they stay there, where they go. You won't know how much they spend, but let's say, for instance, you figure out that 30% of the month of June were people from Minnesota that targeted this area of the state. When you begin to look at the customer insight data, because that's what I do, you think you're doing a soil test, but in fact I'm doing all of this underneath that you have no idea about. You begin to tell people what to do, when to do, and where to do it. And that I find extremely valuable. So going back to the original question, anytime we can take what originates and feed it back into it as a program is a plus. But we all know that you're going to have to fight elbows with people to do that.
Question.
Well, how can you take this abuse of the SNAP program and take that money and put it into the Alabama farm?
So, I mean, this is a great, let's talk about this. I don't know if you know this, but Alabama leads the nation in fraud. Not by percentage, by claims. 26,000 stolen SNAP claims. California had 23,000. Out of the density between these two states, we have a problem. But here's the real problem. SNAP is about to move from the federal level to the state level. So we're already having products that shouldn't be on SNAP, and we have a massive amount of fraud and abuse from it. We have a recipe for disaster. But I think we're already going to be $100 million short when we do it. So if anything, if we do straighten it out, I wonder if it's just going to be, hopefully, break it even on the budget.
Can you help it allocate or put together some kind of Doge program to help with this?
I will say this. I know there's a lot of leaders looking at it right now. A lot.
Is that under the Department of Human Resources?
Public health.
Okay.
But right now, the legislators, I think it's don't quote me if I'm wrong, you guys, I get a lot of details today, To my knowledge, it was or dropped legislation years ago to clean SNAP up, and it failed. Now that, Taylor, did I get the name wrong?
No, go ahead.
Oh.
I have a question.
Okay. And then now he's redoing it, and I mean, I hope we're gonna, but that's just removing items, okay? Going into the fraud and so forth, I did see an announcement that they're working to do some things to make it better, but we have a lot of work to do.
And can you be a part of that?
Oh, you can commit the fact I have a microphone to my voice.
You did.
Taylor?
So when you say fraud, are you talking about like people that say get $500 in benefits and then go sell them for $250 on the black market for cash?
Here's the thing when I say fraud, good question. I've asked this question 100 times. I don't even know if it's residents here in the state of Alabama or if it's like some kind of black underground market that's going on.
There's a lot of stolen, like they're stealing the card number, just like they would steal your debit card number. That is a lot, because we went to the Department of Research. They warned me, and that is a huge concern because they issue those PPT cards to families, and so that is one thing is that they're easily compromised cards and stuff.
Yes, so
I'm sorry, Freddy. Part of what it was too is that some of the SNAP recipients, or those that are using the bar, are at borders along Alabama, and so they're using it outside of the state. It appears like maybe it's fraud, but it's not. It's like us using it like in Perdido, so they're kind of having difficulty determining like what's fraud, what's just.
but again, it goes back to why we get cleaned up. Because if we're going to spend tax dollars to do the right thing, let's do it right.
Yeah.
Yes, sir?
Oh, one problem I've dealt with at the farmer's market is identifying seafood.
Oh, yes.
Will, are you under that, is that under your realm?
So,
Would be.
yes, it is, the farmer's market. So I actually had this come to me. I went to a farmer's market, and the fish was not country of origin labeled. And there is an agency that oversees that, and you can report it if there's a problem.
But do they actually enforce it?
Yes, to my knowledge. But, you know, okay, then get with me, and there's and I want to make sure you get the response you need.
Yep.
Get that? We.
Yes, sir? Sorry, the light's great.
Yeah. Do you think SNAP should be under the Department of Agriculture? It seems more like a welfare program than something that benefits the farmer.
Well, the SNAP is not under the Department of Ag. So you're asking, do I think it should be under the Department of Ag?
No, well, I mean, at the federal level, it is.
What I'm asking is, if you're right, it's at the federal level, it's under the USDA. What I'm asking is wherever it is in the state, it's run properly. Or implemented.
Do you have an opinion about whether you'd rather see it separated and get the ag business out of welfare and work on farming?
You know, I'd love to see more privatization of farming, but at the same time, my job is not to create government. I want to be able to work with government to do it efficiently. So I would want a chance to sit at the table to make it work efficiently where it is. And if that doesn't work, then we need to find a new place. Well, you guys have been easy.
Are you going to be subject to lobbyists when you go off?
Okay, so here's an issue. Oh, girl, camera. So far, I'm not bought and paid for. I'm not bought. And I say so far because that means other people are. Okay? I'm not. But I'm doing this, honestly, for the right reason. But you're right. That's a really thing that goes on in politics that I've talked about.
It's another problem Alabama's got.
Yeah, that's a big problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can check my Secretary of State, I have a record out there of who donates to campaign.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.